The year is 2005. The location is the perpetually overcast town of Forks, Washington. In our timeline, a teenage girl is about to fall in love with a vampire who sparkles in the sunlight. But in this timeline, a different kind of visitor has just rolled into town on a black 1968 Dodge Charger. He wears a leather trench coat, hidden armor, and a pair of sunglasses that he never takes off, even indoors. This is the story of what happens when the Daywalker, the ultimate vampire hunter, decides to clean up the Twilight universe. Forget the romance, forget the teenage angst. The hunter has arrived, and he brought his sword. Blade does not transfer to Forks High School to attend biology class. He comes because his network of watchers flagged an anomaly. A concentration of cold-skinned non-humans living openly among the population. While Bella Swan drives her rusted truck into town, wondering if she will fit in, Blade parks his muscle car outside the local diner and waits. He doesn't need to read minds to know something is wrong here. The town smells different. It lacks the metallic copper scent of fresh blood that usually trails vampire nests. Instead, the air is thick with the smell of wet cedar and something sweeter, almost sickeningly floral. He orders a coffee, black, and listens to the heartbeat of every person in the room. He is looking for the arrhythmia, the silence between beats that marks the undead. The cafeteria scene shifts dramatically. Bella asks Jessica Stanley who the pale students are, but before Jessica can gossip about the Cullens, the double doors swing open. Blade steps in. He isn't carrying a lunch tray. The chatter in the room dies instantly. Not because he is beautiful, but because he radiates a predatory threat level that triggers the lizard brain of every human present. Edward Cullen stops staring at Bella. For the first time in a century, the telepath hears nothing from a new arrival. No thoughts, just a static buzz of pure, disciplined aggression. Blade scans the table to see 5 targets who are too pale, too still, and ignoring their food. He adjusts his sunglasses as his hand drifts toward the silver glaive tucked inside his coat. The confrontation happens in the parking lot, after school. In the original timeline, Edward saves Bella from a sliding van. Here, Blade intercepts them before they reach their cars. He doesn't ask questions. He draws his custom Heckler & Koch USP match pistols and opens fire. This is where the physics of the two universes collide violently. Blade expects the heavy silver rounds to turn the vampires to ash. Instead, the bullets flatten against Emmett Cullen's chest with the sound of a hammer hitting an anvil. The Cullens do not explode or turn to dust. They just stumble back, confused and annoyed. Blade pauses, tilting his head. He fires again, this time aiming for the eyes. But Edward moves with a blur of speed that even Blade's enhanced senses struggle to track. We pulled this specific matchup from a debate in our comment section last week, so a huge thank you to everyone pitching these wild scenarios. We read every single one. If you have another universe you want Blade to invade, let us know below. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button to join the team. We return to the action now. The clouds break. A beam of sunlight hits Edward as he shields Bella. Blade waits for the combustion, the screams, and the burning flesh. He expects the satisfying crunch of a vampire roasting in UV rays. Instead, Edward Cullen begins to sparkle like a diamond chandelier. Blade lowers his weapon, genuinely confused. He takes off his sunglasses for a moment, squinting at the shimmering disco ball standing in front of a Ford truck. The Daywalker has fought gods, demons, and the literal avatar of Dracula, but he has never seen a vampire glitter. He mutters something about them being the worst vampires he has ever seen. The intimidation factor of the Cullens hits absolute zero. Blade realizes he isn't fighting monsters, he is fighting something far more annoying. Blade retreats to his charger to regroup. He is a tactical genius, and he realizes his standard loadout is useless. Garlic is merely an ingredient for their Italian cooking. Silver is just jewelry to them. Wooden stakes would shatter against their granite-hard skin. Blade needs to escalate. He opens the trunk of his car, bypassing the serum injectors and the silver nitrates. He reaches for the heavy ordnance. In the Twilight lore, the only way to kill a vampire is to tear them apart and burn the pieces. Blade can work with that. He loads his shotgun with incendiary phosphorus shells and straps a pure adamantium katana to his back. If they are made of diamond, he will treat them like rocks. It is time to start breaking things. The plot of the first movie accelerates. The Nomad vampires, James, Victoria, and Laurent, wander out of the woods, looking for a snack. In the original film, this leads to a psychological game of cat and mouse. In this version, they walk straight into a trap. Blade has been tracking their scent since they entered the county. He waits in the center of the baseball field, sitting on a folding chair, cleaning his sword. James, the tracker, is intrigued because he thinks this is a game. He speeds toward Blade, confident in his invulnerability. James has never met a Dhampir. Blade doesn't move until the last microsecond, using his own supernatural speed to match the Nomad. The collision sends a shockwave through the grass. James is fast, but Blade is a better fighter. The Nomad tries to bite, but his teeth snap against the hidden body armor Blade wears. Blade responds with a kick to the chest that sends James flying into the tree line. The vampire laughs, dusting off his jacket until he realizes his left arm is gone. The adamantium sword, heated by a built-in thermal coil, sliced through the diamond-hard skin like butter. The laughter stops. Blade spins the sword, the hum of the heated metal filling the silence. He tells James that some people are always trying to ice skate uphill. Before the Nomad can run, Blade throws a glaive. It doesn't stick in his chest, it explodes on impact, releasing a cloud of aerosolized anticoagulant and fire. The Cullens arrive just in time to watch Blade pile the pieces of James into a bonfire. Carlisle Cullen, the pacifist doctor, steps forward with his hands up. He tries to explain their lifestyle, their diet, and their desire for peace. Blade listens, his hand hovering over a detonator. He looks at Carlisle, then at Edward, then at the pile of burning vampire ash. He recognizes discipline when he sees it. These vampires are not hurting humans. They are weird, they sparkle, and they play baseball in thunderstorms, but they are not feeding on the town. Blade decides he will not kill them today, but he warns them. If one drop of human blood is spilled, he will burn the entire Olympic Peninsula to the ground. News of James's death reaches the Volturi in Italy. Aro, the ancient leader, is fascinated. He has heard rumors of a Daywalker, a being with all their strengths and none of their weaknesses. He sees Blade not as a threat, but as a collector's item. He dispatches the elite guard, including Jane and Alec, to Forks. They expect to find a rogue neophyte, but what they find is a fortress. Blade has spent the last week turning the Forks High School gymnasium into a tactical kill box. He knows they are coming. He has prepared UV arc lamps that don't just shine sunlight. They project concentrated beams of radiation hot enough to melt stone. The Volturi walk into the gym with their robes flowing, looking regal. Blade locks the doors. Jane looks at Blade and whispers the word, pain. In the movies, this drops grown men to their knees. Blade just stands there, chewing on a toothpick. His mind is not like a human mind, and his physiology is a chaotic mix of vampire and human DNA that scrambles her psychic frequency. He taps his temple and smirks. Her powers are useless against him. Alec tries to use his sensory deprivation mist, but Blade activates the wind turbines he rigged to the ceiling fans. The mist disperses instantly. The Volturi Guard, stripped of their magical advantages, are suddenly just a group of arrogant vampires in cloaks, facing a man with a machine pistol loaded with incendiary rounds. The fear in Arrow's eyes would be visible if he were there. The fight is short and brutal. Twilight vampires rely heavily on their indestructible skin, but they are not trained martial artists. They are brawlers. Blade is a master of every killing form known to man. He moves through the Volturi guard like a whirlwind of steel and fire. He uses their own momentum against them, shattering their limbs with precise leverage before finishing them with the heated sword. The gym floor is covered in what looks like broken crystal and purple fire. He leaves one guard alive, Caius, to take a message back to Italy. The message is simple: stay out of America. Blade throws a handful of garlic powder in Caius's face just for the insult, even though he knows it does nothing. With the Nomad threat neutralized and the Volturi humbled, the nature of the love story changes forever. Bella Swan has seen true violence now. She has seen what the world of the supernatural actually looks like. It isn't romantic flights through the forest, it is dismemberment and napalm. The allure of immortality fades when you watch a vampire hunter sweep up the crystallized remains of an ancient guard. Blade has a brief conversation with Bella. He doesn't tell her to stay away from Edward. He just hands her a pager. He tells her that if they ever try to turn her, or if they ever get hungry, she presses the button. He will be there in 10 minutes. It is the best insurance policy a human could have. Before leaving, Blade visits the Quaalude reservation. The shapeshifters tense up as the Charger rolls onto their land. Sam Yulee and Jacob Black phase into their wolf forms, sensing the vampire blood in Blade's veins. But Blade steps out with his hands visible. He tosses a silver glaive onto the dirt, not as a threat, but as a gift. He respects them. They hunt the Cold Ones, just like him. He shares a nod with Sam. There is no need for words. Game recognizes game. Blade warns them about the serum he takes, advising them not to bite him, unless they want a mouthful of chemical fire. He leaves the pack with a new ally and a direct line to the only man the Cullens fear. Forks returns to its quiet, rainy existence, but the balance of power has shifted. The Cullens are no longer the apex predators of the region. They live under probation. Edward stops stalking Bella and starts taking boxing lessons, realizing that speed alone won't save him next time. The Volturi seal off the American border, terrified of the man in the trench coat. The high school repairs the gym wall, blaming it on a boiler explosion. And somewhere on the highway, heading toward the next nest of vampires in Seattle, Blade drives into the night. He checks his list. He didn't get to kill the glittery ones, but he put the fear of death into them. In his book, that counts as a win. The presence of Blade in the Twilight universe turns a supernatural romance into a survival horror for the vampires. It strips away the glamour and replaces it with the cold, hard reality of a hunter who doesn't care how sparkly you are. The Cullens survive only because they aren't worth the ammo, but the message is clear. The food chain has a new top predator. If you want to see us drop other characters into universes they don't belong in, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next breakdown. Thanks for watching, and stay sharp!